ladies and gentlemen, is a new world order all set to be formed? Well, after 7 years, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited China, where he held a bilateral meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping. These bilateral talks were held in Tianjin ahead of the SCO Summit. Remember, this meeting comes amid the tariffs imposed by the US and China's own unstable ties with America. Prime Minister Modi and President Xi Jinping met on the sidelines of the SCO Summit. This meeting went on for about an hour, during which National Security Advisor Ajit Doval and Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri were present from the Indian side, while Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi took part in this meeting. In his opening remarks, PM Modi emphasized on the India-China ties while making key announcements, including the resumption of the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra. Border issues were also discussed.
Excellency, हमारे जगह में दोस्तों स्वागत के लिए मैं आपका हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। पिछले वर्ष कैलाश में हमारी बहुत ही सार्थक चर्चा हुई थी। हमारे संबंधों को एक सकारात्मक दिशा मिली। सीमा पर डिसएग्रीमेंट के बाद शांति और स्थिरता का माहौल बना हुआ है। हमारे स्पेशल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स के बीच बॉर्डर मैनेजमेंट के संबंध में सहमति बनी। कैलाश मानसरोवर यात्रा फिर से शुरू हुई। दोनों देशों के बीच डायरेक्ट फ्लाइट भी फिर से शुरू की जा रही है। हमारे सहयोग से दोनों देशों के 2.8 बिलियन लोगों के बीच जुड़े हुए। इससे पूरी मानवता के कल्याण का मार्ग भी प्रशस्त होगा। परस्पर विश्वास, सम्मान और संवेदनशीलता के आधार पर हम अपने संबंधों को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध हैं। एक्सेलेंसी, चीन द्वारा SCO की सफल अध्यक्षता के लिए मैं आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। एक बार फिर चीन यात्रा के निमंत्रण के लिए और आज की हमारी बैठक के लिए आपका हार्दिक धन्यवाद।
Mr. Prime Minister, it is a great pleasure for me to meet you again this time in Tianjin. Welcome to come to China for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Tianjin Summit. Last year, you and I had a successful meeting in Wuhan, and the China-India relationship was reset and the start of the new year. The two sides have clearly indicated the important consensus we have agreed, and the bilateral exchanges and cooperation seeks to make new progress.
当前，世界改革变局加速演进，国际形势变幻交织。中国和印度是两大东方殖民国，是世界人口最多的两个国家，也是全球南方重要成员，肩负造福本国利益、促进发展中国家团结振兴、推动人类社会进步的重要责任。做为友好的朋友，相互成就伙伴，实现龙象共舞，应当是中印双方的正确选择。
The world today is swept by once-in-a-century transformations. The international situation is both fluid and chaotic. China and India are two ancient civilizations in the East. We're the world's two most populous countries, and we're also the important members of the Global South. We both shoulder the historical responsibility of improving the well-being of our two peoples, promoting the solidarity and rejuvenation of developing countries, and propelling the progress of human society. It is the right choice for all sides to be friends who have good neighborly and amicable ties, partners who enable each other's success, and to have the dragon and the elephant dance together.
今年是中印建交70周年，双方要坚持从战略高度和长远角度看待和处理中印关系，推动两国关系持续健康稳定发展。双方还要共同展现历史担当，坚持多边主义，携手推动世界多极化和国际关系民主化，为维护亚洲乃至世界和平和繁荣做出应有的贡献。
This year marks the 75th anniversary of China-India diplomatic ties. Both sides need to approach and handle our relationship from a strategic height and long-term perspective, so as to realize the sustained, sound and steady development of our bilateral ties. We must also step up to our historic responsibility to uphold multilateralism, work together to bring about a multipolar world and more democracy in international relations, and to make our due contributions to peace and prosperity in Asia and around the world.
All right, so that was, of course, the bilateral talk that happened between Prime Minister Narendra Modi as well as President Xi Jinping. The opening statements, of course, stressing on mutual respect, mutual trust and shared concerns. Remember, there was an emphasis on how borders should remain peaceful and stable. And the Indian government, remember, has always made it clear that without the border being stable, we will not be able to move forward and deepen this relationship. Let me introduce my guest on the show. Professor Madhav Nalapat, geopolitical analyst, joins us. Major General Dhruv Katoj, Director, India Foundation, is with us. Dr. Swaran Singh, Professor of International Relations at JNU, is also with us, as well as Ambassador Funchok Stobdan. Also joins us on the broadcast. My colleague Swati, who is reporting us and getting us the latest from Tianjin, also joins us. Welcome to all of you. First, to you, Swati, can I first understand from you what is happening there? We just heard both the leaders making some very clear, sharp statements as far as the India-China relationship is concerned. Now, what are we expecting in the day?
Well, we are expecting a press conference, in fact, to take place to get us more details on what was discussed during the bilateral. We heard the opening statements in which Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Chinese President Xi Jinping both underlined the importance of India-China relationship. In fact, the Chinese President also underlined how this is the 75th anniversary of India-China diplomatic ties. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, through the opening statement, once again emphasized that our relationship is moving in the positive direction, but it is going to advance on the basis of mutual sensitivities and mutual trust. And Xi Jinping, in fact, reiterated the commitment that both sides have towards peace and tranquility. And after the special representatives talks in India, when the Foreign Minister of China, Mr. Wang Yi, came, visited India, spoke to the Foreign Affairs Minister, discussed border issues with our National Security Advisor. Upon reaching an agreement, there's peace and tranquility at the border. There's something that both leaders spoke about, and how a strong India-China relationship is not just important and significant for regional stability, but also for the world economic order. So we're waiting for more details to emerge about the issues that were raked up during the bilateral. Through the opening statements, we have a fair bit of idea now, Shreya, of how the border issue was brought up during the discussion and the developments that took place during Wang Yi's visit.
Absolutely. And that is something the government of India has made clear time and again, that without the borders being stable and peaceful, we cannot deepen this relationship. Swati, I'll keep coming back to you for the latest from Tianjin. Dr. Swaran Singh, among geostrategic circles, there was always talk that nothing substantial or big that we should expect from the SCO Summit, but just the fact that India and China have had a separate relationship. We have been seeing this in the context of American tariffs, but we've had a relationship, and we are marking 75 years of that relationship this year. But, just the fact that the timing of this summit perhaps couldn't have been coming at a better time with the kind of geopolitical challenges that both India and China have been facing, and therefore just the perfect message that perhaps both countries had been looking for.
If you look at the fact that normalization of China-India relations go back at least to October last year, because of this growing ratcheting up of relationship by President Donald Trump with India, increasingly the public perception is growing that perhaps that is the main driver as to why Indian Prime Minister is attending Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Second, what is a big takeaway or not so big takeaway depends on how we perceive the challenges in India-China relations. They have a fairly complex relationship with enormous tensions during last 5 years. So even incremental steps, you heard Prime Minister announcing direct flights to be resumed. And we have already seen, as you mentioned in the opening, India's focus is to resolve border first. And on that, after disengagement, the de-escalation is taking a little longer time because focus is in building atmospherics. And there you see already the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra is resumed. Border trade in Lipulekh, Shipkila, Natula is almost beginning to be revived. And the 24th meeting of special representatives did mention that we need to set up an expert group for water sharing as well. In fact, very interesting that two more expert groups in that 10-point consensus include special expert group for border management. You heard Prime Minister in opening remarks saying we need to have trust to have better border management. Whether that group is to be constituted. In fact, they went step forward. The 10-point consensus spoke of setting up an expert group for border demarcation. Border demarcation is extremely next step. We have not moved there as yet. So even if there are incremental changes in bilateral relations, which I think are bound to happen after this meeting, which went 20 minutes beyond 40 minutes initially scheduled, is definitely interesting. But you also remember China and India are second and fourth largest economies today. So among world's top 4 economies, two are China and India, developing countries, Asian countries, neighbors. So when they come together, especially in a situation when all the countries, whether they are 10 members or 14 dialogue partners of SCO, they are all facing President Trump's tariffs. So even if SCO is supposed to look at security, it will look at economic issues as well.